Hello, everybody, and welcome to the stream. Today, I'm joined once again by the Mighty Blue Orthodox, and we are streaming F.E.A.R. Online. And I'm reminded of that old saying, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself, because I've been looking at this game for the past few days, and I'm afraid.
Now, are you afraid in the good way or the bad way?
Um, the bad way. Well, I have to preface that by saying I've never really been one of those people who's been super into the F.E.A.R series. Like I played through the third F.E.A.R game because it had a cooperative campaign, and I found that aspect of it very compelling, although parts of the game really kind of frustrated me. But I have F.E.A.R 1 and F.E.A.R 2 and all the DLCs for those games from a Steam sale at some point, and I've tried to play them a couple times, and F.E.A.R's just never been one of those games that actually scared me in that, like, oh, I'm scared of this game. Like I wouldn't put it in that same pantheon of horror games with, say, things like Silent Hill or Amnesia or games that I genuinely consider scary. Like I always thought of F.E.A.R, at least the first two F.E.A.R games, uh, more so as just being like pretty competent shooters with like some pretty interesting mechanics that happened to have a horror aesthetic that I didn't find particularly scary.
Yeah, I mean, looking back, the first time I ever played a Fear game was back in like middle school. And again, I was just never really caught on. I mean, I'm probably probably not a good example because I'm not a horror fan to begin with, but I just think overall the game, it just wasn't very interesting to me. It made me jump once or twice, but as soon after you get past like the third jump scare, you kind of know what the game is going to throw at you
And
from a horror aspect.
that's exactly what I would say has been my experience with the game. Is it with the series, I should say, is that it feels like a very one-trick pony in terms of it's all about the jump scare. It's all about like, oh, we're gonna have something out of focus, and then it's gonna rush up to the camera and come into clear focus, and so there's gonna be some crazy lighting effect. And it's like you said, once you've seen that a couple of times, you're just kind of like, meh. But I did enjoy, for the record, playing through F.E.A.R 3 only because of the cooperative aspect. Like I think that was the thing that really carried me through that game. Like I think, in fact, I could say with certainty, had I not been able to play through the campaign of that game cooperatively with somebody else, I never would have made it through it because I would have run out of steam like long before the end. But they did do a fairly decent job of like making the story at least propulsive enough that like between the two of us we were able to muster up enough interest to actually see it through to the end, despite some really annoying boss fights and scenarios that like otherwise would have made me like run away clenching my teeth and pounding my fists.
Well, you know what they say, suffering with somebody is a lot better than suffering by yourself.
Indeed, and it goes back to that thing I always say that co-op just makes everything better. Like you can take like the worst game in the world and put co-op in it, and it's at least gonna be mildly entertaining on some level that it wouldn't have been had it not had the co-op element.
Yeah, probably mostly from the fact that you're again making fun of a terrible game that you both happen to just be playing at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's something to be said for just shared experiences and all that sort of thing. But putting all that aside for a moment, because as much as I am disappointed by what I've seen of this game so far, I'm not completely ready to write it off just yet because I feel like maybe there's some little kernel of potential here. Um, that maybe with a little bit of effort could actually be made into something. But the main reason I wanted to cover this game at all is because it's actually the newest release from that publisher area. who you may know from Soldier Front 2 fame. They also were the ones who took Age of Conan and made it free to play and a bunch of other free to play games. Basically, their whole kind of concept as a company is that they take a bunch of games and make them free to play and then have like a common currency that's used between them called these area points. So basically if you buy currency in Soldier Front 2, you can use it in this game or Age of Conan or vice versa or what have you. And I always thought that was kind of a neat idea. And because I have enjoyed some of their games like Soldier Front, I always at least want to give their new stuff a chance because if for no other reason, the fact that I have some currency that I bought for Soldier Front that I could actually use in this game if it warranted it. But so we are in an online. We've managed to get ourselves into the same online lobby here, and we are going to try to get into a few PvP matches together, and then try to do some PvE uh, as a team. But the interesting thing about the way the friend system in this game works, and by interesting I mean terrible, is that you can't join your friends in PvP. You can only join your friends in PvE. So what we're basically going to have to do is I'm in the server browser now, and I'm going to try to find us a deathmatch server to join. Um, so I'm looking at this daytime mission on the server list. It's just labeled as F.E.A.R Online. And for me, anyway, it's got 9 out of 16 people playing it. So you see that on your list?
Trying.
Yeah, so one of the worst things about this game is that you can just get completely spammed by invites like nearly constantly when you're sitting in these public lobbies, especially when you're in a crowded one like we are. And it's really, really frustrating. Like, I swore whenever I first like loaded this game up, I saw an option to disable those or to prevent them from happening, but I swear it's like they took it out of the game or something because now I can't seem to find it again. And man, do I wish it was there because it's really vexing to uh, to not be able to turn those off.
So it's daytime mansion deathmatch. F.E.A.R Online.
Okay, so uh, I saw daytime rooftop is the one I was looking at, or actually, no, I got it. Yeah, daytime mansion. Let me join. So let's see. So I don't see. Oh, okay, yeah, I see you on the other team, of course, but that's okay. We can be enemies because
Yes.
Start operation.
we're gonna just
Eliminate the threat.
kind of talk about this a little bit as we play it. All right, so the first thing I will say about this game, based on my experiences with it so far, is that it seems like what they did with this title was to basically gut a lot of the multiplayer content out of Fear 3 and try to repackage it into this like quasi, uh, free to play game. Because I'm very much reminded of a lot of the modes and maps and general look and feel of the multiplayer in that game, except this seems like a almost like a worse, like toned down version of it. It basically feels to me like they took the art assets from Fear 3 and like scaled them down or scaled them back to try to make them run on a broader range of machines. And so what you have is like a game where some of the art looks like it was done fairly recently, but then because of the scaled back nature of it, it has like the look of a game from like 10 years ago in a lot of respects.
Yeah, this looks awful. I'm
Yeah, and I
sorry.
mean I've got all of the settings cranked, to the degree to which the game lets you do that, and I'm often startled by just how terrible a lot of these art assets look. Like for a game that's just being released as new in 2014, I think this is pretty rugged in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I mean, free to play or not free to play, I mean, I think by anybody's standards, this is just terrible.
Fire in the hole!
Now I have
Cover me.
seen
I'm
a
reloading.
previous game, and I know I'm gonna get the name of this game wrong. It's like AWR or like Agents of War or something like that, which was another area game that was released on Steam a while ago. And I feel like this looks slightly better than that game, at least from what I've seen of it. But in general, like this is very primitive. Like even in comparison to something like Soldier Front 2, which is a couple years old now. Which I mean, obviously, Soldier Front 2, developed by Dragonfly, Area is just the publisher, so this is not the same team that made that game. It's just being published by the same publisher. But yeah, this is a little rough. So another area where I think this game kind of lacks in a pretty significant way is the audio. Like you'll notice that whenever you're in a gunfight and you see like your teammates and enemies firing, you don't actually hear any of the gunshots except the ones that are actually coming out of your gun, which basically makes it impossible to use audio cues to like find anybody else in the game or like have any sense of where fire is coming from.
Yeah, I noticed that myself, where it's like the indicators either just aren't there, or they're just like, you're getting shot from this way. You look over, nothing's there, and then you die.
Hold your
It's
position.
like, well, it would have been nice to know where I got shot from, but guess it's not important.
Well, and it's funny, right? Because like you hear your footsteps, you hear your guy breathing, you hear, you shooting your gun, but like at least for me, I don't hear anybody else, like any audio from anybody else.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like, it almost had the same thing, it almost has weird audio bugs like, Orion Dino Beatdown,
Yeah, although I
where
think these are way worse than anything that was in that game.
oh, I would definitely agree with that. And on top of that, that game is fun. This kind of isn't.
Well, the thing that's amazing to me, right, is I've been checking out this game, off and on because they've put out a few patches for it, and I thought at first I thought, oh, maybe some of these issues are just launch week glitches or problems or whatever, and maybe like a patch will sort out some of the problems because graphics aren't everything. I would never say that a game has to look amazing to be fun. Like there are plenty of games that I love that aren't like the best looking game out there. But by the same token, I feel like it's indicative of the whole issue with this game, which is that the total package just is not what you would expect in this day and age, like on any level.
Oh yeah, I mean, for as for as okay as like Soldier Front looks, or like cheap or whatever you'd want to say, old I guess in this case, as that game looks, it's still very much fun. And that's really, where that game, again, a good game that Area has published, whereas, this bad game that they've published kind of differs from, is like that one is actually fun.
Roger that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
even though, again, graphically, it might not be, the latest and greatest thing out there.
yeah. Although one thing I will say about this game that I've experienced so far, at least, is I feel as though network wise, like I'm seeing less lag in this game than I'm accustomed to from say Soldier Front. Um, but it's also maybe just because these are smaller maps with fewer people playing on them. Like I think it might be just a case where the engine has less to do, so it handles it better.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's no way that this game is struggling to render anything, not with textures like these.
Hmm.
At least I would hope not.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you, you know, myself, I'm pushing 128 frames a second right now, average. So that should tell you something. I'm the king of the assists. Can't ever seem to get any kills. But I've seen a few different maps in the game based on what mode you're playing on. You know, I wouldn't say these are terribly designed maps. Like the layouts are kind of okay. Like there's some decent, you know, sight lines and things, you know, paths for you to follow and stuff like that. Like they don't seem to be like terrible map layouts or anything. It's just that I think in a world where there are so many first-person shooters out there and like the competition is so thick for games of this sort, this game really isn't doing anything to stand out or make itself, you know, kind of worthy of standing out from that crowd.
Oh yeah, I mean, you could just tell just from, I guess, just the quality of the game that it's like, the people that made it kind of knew what it was gonna be. They knew it wasn't gonna be good. So, I mean, that's why it's free to play. Which, thank God, it's free to play, because God, charging for a game like this.
Well, I feel
Oh
like
man.
it's weird, right? Because you could almost go into the Wayback Machine and be like, okay, like this is a game you would have paid money for 10 or 15 years ago. You know, like that's just a fact. I mean, this is what games looked like 10 or 15 years ago. And like you might have even been somewhat impressed by some of like the lighting or whatever's going on in the game. And that says something, I think, about like how far games have come. You know, that this is no longer acceptable, thankfully.
I was gonna say, which is probably a good thing.
Yeah. Well, and I think the thing that I feel worst about, or the thing that I kind of am bummed out for, is like people who are fans of the series, because I have to imagine like they can't be too happy with this. Like they
Oh,
can't be sitting there going, "Wow, this really represents, you know, my beloved franchise or the thing that I've like followed for years." And you know, I think that this really speaks to me as a fan of that series. I can't imagine anybody saying that.
oh man. I mean, I would almost feel like, because I'm a huge fan of Fable. I mean, this to me would be like almost like what they did to Fable with, like I should say what Microsoft elects to do with Fable now these days. The new one looks cool. The Fable Legends thing looks cool, but like, when they were starting to do like Connect games with it and stuff, I'm like, oh no, like this is where they're gonna take this my beloved series is like the Connect game,
Hmm.
Vortex.
Yeah. All right, so let's hop out of this room and
All right,
let's do another mode real quick just to show the different modes.
might as
Um,
well.
yeah, I'm trying to save what I think is probably the most interesting things for last because I kind of feel like maybe we can get some more entertainment value out of doing that. But I just wanted to get the deathmatch out of the way up front because that is the mode that people seem to be playing the most, which probably says something about the player base. Um, but you know, like I don't know why if you wanted to play a deathmatch game, you would pick this one. That like boggles my mind on like so many different levels. Like it really does. Um, okay, so the other mode that we can look at is demolition, and there's a 10 of 16 on the airport map on the server list. Project Murder is the name.
Yeah, I jumped in.
All right, I'm jumping in as well.
Yay, we're on the same team.
Yay! All right. So this is Counter Strike. It's one team planting the bomb, one team defusing the bomb, two different bomb sites, um, wash, rinse, repeat, one life per level or per round.
Destroyed. Mission failed.
That's it. That's exactly what this is. They basically were just like, yep, let's make Counter Strike in Fear because
Start
people
operation.
want that.
Protect the target.
Although
Totally.
I can aim down the sights, so I guess there's that.
There's. Oh man. You've
You
just
know.
pissed off the nation of Counter Strike players.
I mean, whatever. I'm trying to search for positives here. I'm trying to find something positive to say.
I mean, it's weird though because that really is like a plus that Counter Strike doesn't have.
Oh, it's the single biggest thing that annoys me about that game. Like I will never understand or accept the concept that you're supposed to be this elite, counterterrorism expert who can't aim down the iron sights of their rifle.
Yeah, you have to use the magic cone of fire
Yeah,
to be, the counterinsurgent's badass.
yeah.
And speaking of a game that actually has an aim down the sights mechanic well and is actually fun to play, Soldier Front 2.
Oh yeah.
And it's weird because Soldier Front has a very similar style where they use the cone of fire sort of thing, where it's like, your
Bomb
first few
activated.
shots are super accurate, and then after that, you're just, basically just good luck if you hit something after that. But,
Yeah.
it's odd how, that game does a really good job of that. And it, again, allows you to aim down the damn sights, which it's like, please, Valve. I understand that, Counter-Strike, like hardcore Counter-Strike players wouldn't like it, but I mean, I would totally play that game a lot more if I could
Team
actually
eliminate.
aim down the
Mission
sights.
failed.
Just saying.
Well, and like, what is the harm? This is the thing that I've never understood about it, is what is the harm of making it a server setting and saying, okay, on this
Start
server you can do
operation.
that.
Protect the target.
Who does that hurt? Like, what baby seal will die if you put that option in the game?
That's a good question. That's a very good question.
So, yeah, I'm gonna go try to defend this one point, because that seems like a thing that you would do, right? If people were trying to plant bombs in a place, you'd probably go and try to stop that from happening, right? That's a thing
Yeah.
that people do.
Yeah. Man, this sound is awful. I'm close to just muting everything because it's
Yeah,
It's just
it's
bad.
pretty rough. It's pretty rough. And like I hate to keep making the Soldier Front 2 comparison because it is pretty unfair given that this is a totally different developer and everything. But like in Soldier Front 2, some of the sound is cheesy, but it's cheesy in an endearing sort of way. Or like how like the announcer voice is like all like broken English and stuff like that. And like it's like kind of the same thing here, but not nearly as endearing.
Oh, I mean, especially since this, it's supposed to be
Team
like,
eliminate.
the F.E.A.R
Mission
game, and
failed.
it's supposed to be taking itself seriously. And it's like, how can you take it seriously when there's so many, like, glaring, just simple bugs like that, where it's,
Start operation.
bad audio
Protect
or
the target.
whatever.
I'm gonna follow you this round.
That's probably a really bad idea, but
Yeah, well, I figured I'd give the people something to look at when I check out your butt. Work it.
F.E.A.R twerking.
Nice. Fear Twerk 2014. Buy the remix on Spotify.
Now, there's been a sniper that has gotten me these last few times. So, oh,
There's a bunch
goodness.
of bad people around that corner doing bad things.
Headshot.
Ah, I tried.
I saw that headshot. That was pretty good.
Yeah. Headshots are cool.
So it's funny, like, again, going back to the first person, or to the aim down the sights thing, like, one thing you can do, like, when you're following your teammate after you've died, you can, like, use the right mouse button to toggle between first and third person. It's actually kind of cool. Again, like, searching for something cool to say.
Yeah, positive.
Bomb
Positive.
activated.
Kill.
But again, like, this is another one of those cases where it's like, why on earth? Why? Why would you play this instead of the sabotage mode in Soldier Front? Is absolutely beyond me. Like, I can't understand
Great.
why that would ever happen. But yet there are people on here playing this game, and that's kind of, you know what? More power to them. That's cool. I'm not going to criticize anybody for playing this game. If they enjoy it and they're into it, that's fantastic. All I'm saying is, for my time and effort, there are other places I'd rather be spending that time and effort than a game like this.
Yeah, and I mean, I just, again,
Start
like, I
operation.
think that there are
Protect the
just
target.
better games out there that are, you know, doing what this game is doing, like, 10 times better than this game tries.
Yeah.
But but again, power to it. It does, it's not like it's not trying, but
Yeah, and I will say, you know, having said all of that, I've seen way worse games. Like, it's not like this game is completely, like irrefutably awful. It you know, it does, like, the basic things that a shooter needs to do to function properly, which is more than some other games do. But again, like, it's like I always say, like, if you're gonna go into the first person shooter genre, I feel like you kind of have to go into that understanding that the competition is really stiff, right? Like, there's so many games out there that are doing basically exactly the same thing this game is doing, and doing it really well. So it's like, if you're going to step into that arena and try to launch a new game in 2014 that is what this game is trying to do, this is not the best thing you could have done.
yeah, lot better, you know, a lot of more choices and better options or decisions, I guess, you could have been making. Yeah, watch out, the snipers over
Mission
there.
failed.
Yeah. I had a
That was
feeling
rough.
I had a feeling that was going to be bad, but the audio thing is a really big issue for me, in particular,
Start
because
operation.
in most
Protect the
games
target.
I use audio cues to help determine where the enemies are, because sometimes, you know, I just won't spot them, and to not be able to hear other people's footsteps or them moving around in the level or anything like that is a serious problem, right? Because it's like you're fighting ghost people. Like, maybe that's what they were going for. Maybe that's the F.E.A.R tie-in. Like, you're fighting ghost people who don't make any sound. Maybe that's the excuse for this audio.
Could very well be. I mean,
Grenade. Grenade.
you know, which is actually, you know, positive I will level towards Counter-Strike, is that they've always had a really good audio system in terms of trying to figure out where the fuck people are throughout the game.
Well, I mean, like you know, like I said before, like, any good shooter has that, right? Like, it's almost like you've come to expect it to a certain extent, such that if it's not there, you really notice its absence, right? You know, you realize, you may not realize until you don't hear those audio cues just how much you've come to inherently depend on them when playing games like this.
Bomb
Yeah.
activated.
There, it just should. That's just something again that should be there.
Headshot.
Nice shot.
I think it's at A. Thank you, by the way.
Yeah, there's something so surreal about like seeing your teammate firing their gun and not hearing the sound of it firing. Like it's almost like
Bomb
these guys were like
deactivated.
big Kubrick
Mission
like
complete.
2001 fans and we're like we're just going to make everything quiet. Like I have to believe that that's some kind of bug. I have to believe that that's not how this is
Start
intended to
operation.
sound.
Protect the target.
Cuz I just can't imagine shipping a game like that.
I mean, I would really hope that that's not the case.
So, the one thing I will say, and we kind of alluded to it earlier, is that for all the issues with this game and all the obvious like shortcomings it has, it's not terrible. Like I'm not gonna sit here and say this is like the worst game I've ever played or anything like that. Like it's definitely not. Like it's definitely not anywhere close to the worst game I've ever played. But uh, and I could imagine, it can envision a scenario where you could have some fun playing this with your buddies or whatever, but I would also highly urge people to, seek out some of the other options that are out there, like I say, that do the same things that this game does, but better.
Bomb activated.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. The aforementioned Counter-Strike, Soldier Front,
Hmm.
because even for all of Counter-Strike's flaws, at least that's how we perceive them, there's still, a lot of people that play it, and so on top of that, you're already playing with an established audience, so
Sure, and I mean, like,
Team
despite the
eliminate.
fact that
Mission
uh,
failed.
mechanical issue annoys the hell out of me, I would never say that Counter-Strike is a bad game or anything like that. Like that would just be crazy talk. It
Start
just frustrates
operation.
me that that
Protect the
option
target.
doesn't exist.
yeah, yeah.
But I was even thinking of like I was trying to think of like other just the free-to-play shooters that are out there these days. Like Heroes and Generals, PlanetSide 2, um, just tons of them. There's tons of games out there that you could be playing free to play that are going to give you a better experience than this, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it has the Fear name, so if you're a fan of Fear, this would definitely be a game to play, but
Do you think so? Because like that's the thing I keep struggling with, like in thinking about this game, and does it have a real like saving grace or redeeming quality? And not being like a big
Bomb
fan of the
activated.
Fear series or like a huge fan of it, it's hard for me to say like would this anger me if I really liked Fear, or would I enjoy it because it has the Fear name and the Fear aesthetic? Like that, I guess that's a question I just don't feel properly equipped to answer.
I mean, we could speculate whether or not,
Well,
I
I mean,
mean,
like I
we
said,
probably have like
yeah,
the most die-hard fans that are probably playing right now, honestly. I think that's probably who's playing this game.
yeah,
It's probably primarily the people who played the games, enjoyed,
Mission failed.
the lore and the story that it had behind them. Um, because again, I think most people, if you're already playing those other games that
Start
we mentioned,
operation.
then those are the
Plant
games
the
that you're
bomb
playing.
and destroy the
Um,
target.
from a multiplayer perspective with
hmm
your friends already. I think if you're playing F.E.A.R. Online, you probably liked the games a lot. You probably played the multiplayers of those and enjoyed what experiences they gave you, and probably wanted to play more of it. So, and then they gave you, they gave you more of what you wanted.
Yeah, like I was thinking to Fear 3, obviously being the only one of the series that I actually played through to completion. And I did remember playing the multiplayer in that and enjoying it. And I want to say, I feel like just from a presentation standpoint, I feel like the multiplayer in Fear 3 looked and felt and played a lot better than this. Like in terms of just being more sophisticated and polished and like feature complete. But it's also been a few years since I looked at that game, so I might have to go back and load it up and see what the multiplayer in that actually looked like.
Team
Because I may
eliminate.
just be
Mission
remembering it
failed.
incorrectly. Like it might be that, this is, exactly what Fear 3's multiplayer was like, and I'm just remembering it
Start
wrong.
operation. Plant the bomb and destroy the target.
Which could also be the case, and I've never beaten any of the F.E.A.R. games. I've seen some of the first, and I've seen bits and parts of the other ones, but again, nothing really, not enough, I should say, to really make like a final say on either of their quality or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Bomb activated.
Alright, well, we got our bomb planted. We got a bunch of guys here defending it. Yeah, this guy's got the spot that I like crouched under the blue thing. That's a pretty good spot because most people don't realize there can be a person there.
Bomb defused.
Aw, bummer.
Ugh.
Well, that was a steamrolling, but that's okay because we don't want to play any more of that anyway.
Yeah.
Alright. So now I wanted to save, in my mind, the best for last. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get into the third PvP mode, which is called Knife Fight. Which, there have been knife-only modes in games for a long time now. That's nothing new in and of itself. But I feel like at a certain point, the people developing this game kind of realized, hey, wait a minute, this game's kind of silly. Why don't we put something in here to just, I don't know, ease the blow of it being rather silly? Oh man, where is it? There's none on the server list. No. Oh, somebody has to have one going. Come on. I'm gonna have to start one, clearly. So basically, this mode, you you run around on scaffolding. I got into one here. It must be on the server list somewhere, and I just didn't see it. But the mode is called Knife Fight, if you want to look for it on the server list.
Trying to find it. What if
Yeah.
I just go to Knife Fight and press Find Game?
Yeah, I was going to say try that, because that's what I did to get into this room. So maybe there's only one room going. Hopefully you'll just end up in the same room.
No, oddly enough.
Huh. I wonder why they're not showing up on the server list. Oh, there you are.
There we go. I tried it again.
Alright,
so.
cool. Alright, so this is probably the mode that I've had the most
Start
fun
operation.
with. Not
Eliminate
because
the
I think
threat.
it's any good, but because I think it really adequately summarizes the sort of messed up nature of this game in a kind of beautifully ironic way.
I fell to my death.
I fell to my death as well. So don't feel bad. That's going to happen. But basically, you have like your left button slash and your right button thrust, and the right button attack is kind of on a cooldown, so you can't spam it. you have to kind of time it, but it's basically like your killing shot if you can line that right button stroke up.
Oh, fell to my death. Number 2.
And I've also noticed a tendency for the people who play in this mode that their characters kind of look like Scorpion or Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat. And I kind of want that skin, just because I think that would make this way better.
If they made like a G.I. Joe version of this game, just with the knife fight alone, I'd be like 10 out of 10. Would knife again.
Wood knife again, yeah. I mean, it's funny, right? Because it's so simplistic. Like, there's like nothing to it at all. Like, you can tell this is probably like the mode they made when they were first getting the engine running to like test, you know, synchronizing multiplayer characters or something like that. And I guess they realized at a certain point that it was probably like the best thing they had, so they just kept it in.
You could be onto something there.
Because that's what this feels like to me. It totally feels like something that was like a test feature or something in the game that like they were like, oh, we like spent, you know, 12 hours playing this in the dev room,
Welcome back.
you know, whenever we were coding this, so we're gonna like put it in.
Flash. Great.
Again, ends up being the funnest
Flash.
mode that you
Amazing.
churn out here.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is clearly not good, but I'm way more entertained by this than I am by any of the other modes in the game. Also, I really need to learn to look down because I keep falling to my death with like embarrassing frequency.
Oh, I got sandwiched.
But I think honestly, this is like as close to fun. Like I honestly can genuinely say I'm having some fun here. Like for whatever jank this has, like there's at least some kernel of fun to it, to this mode.
Oh yeah, I mean it's just a splatter fest. Reminds me of the Fun House from Soldier Front 2.
So I'm glad you said that because I was gonna bring it up myself, but I didn't want to make yet another Soldier Front 2 reference. But it literally reminds me of like the Hall of Glass level where like you're basically like shooting the glass out from under people to make them fall to their death.
Which is just so fun. God, I love that mode.
Yeah, I wish that mode counted for actual points in that game because I play it more often if it did. It's like good for fun, but you don't really get anything out of it. Kind of a bummer.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Slash. I love how he says slash whenever you kill somebody too. That's kind of awesome. It's kind of like the best thing ever.
I thought falling 5 feet.
Yeah,
Like-
yeah, because like sometimes you don't even actually fall that far. Oh, and you can come up behind people and do like the Battlefield style like kill animation knife on them too. But yeah, I love how falling 10 feet like kills you instantly. I mean, I
Yeah,
understand there's no way for you to get back up, so you might as well be dead. But yeah, it's kind of funny. It's like your guy like took cyanide on the way down as he's falling or something.
Yeah, just quick, just instant
Mission
death.
complete.
Yay, we won! So yeah, I kind of put that mode into like the it's so bad it's good category. Like I could actually see myself having some fun with that, like, you know, in limited capacity.
Yeah, probably about once a day, and then you're like, all right, this is stupid.
Yeah,
Let me
it's like
go
if I
play
was gonna
something.
log into the game every day anyway, like I feel like I'd feel like obligated to play at least one round of that a day because it's just so silly. But okay, so let's cut to the chase now, because we've kind of shown off the PvP stuff. Let's actually show the PvE, which I think is perhaps the most potentially interesting part of this, because I don't really think anything about the PvP mode stands out, like versus all the other games we've mentioned that you could be playing for that sort of thing. So in my experience, these PvE modes are kind of lifted straight out of what was in Fear 3. Like this first level in particular, like when you're being chased by the wall of fire through the level, that was totally a thing that was in Fear 3. Um, let's see. Uh, okay, so you're not in this room. And it's already filled up, so let me back out of here. Let me get into a room that has room in it so you can join me. Ugh. And of course it figures, most of the time when I join these rooms, they're empty. I'm struggling to find people, but of course, because I want a room with a slot in it, I can't find one. Let me go to the game browser and see if we can find one that way.
Well, I was seeing them for Subway Panic, but I wasn't actually finding them for anything else.
Yeah, I haven't actually tried the Subway Panic level, so that'll be a new one for me. If you want to try to jump in on that, we can.
All right, there's a open spot for this one.
Okay, yeah, the Tunnel Easy. There's just like a you filled up.
Oh, what mine?
Let me try to join you.
Oh wait, mine just filled up too.
Ah. All right.
Darn it.
So what we're gonna have to do is have one person find the room and the other person be ready to join instantly. So do you want to be the finder or the joiner?
I'll try and be the finder.
Uh,
Oh, Tunnel Easy just opened up here.
All right, get in.
I did.
All right.
Nice.
See how having a plan fixes everything. Oh, are you not ready? All right. So I mentioned this before we started recording this, before we started streaming, but there are actually these mission briefings that you need. You get like 3 of them a day, I think, and they're actually like basically like tokens that you need to use for playing the game multiplayer or for playing these co-op scenarios. So basically, you get like 3 shots at doing these missions per day, assuming that you fail. Um, because it seems like you get like one chance at the mission per token or whatever. But as you can see on my screen anyway, there's a little tooltip. Like you can actually do revives. Like so if somebody does go down, you can do the standard go up to them and hit E to kind of bring them back thing.
Thank you, Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, so I have not seen this one before, so I have no idea what's about to happen.
Bravo, Bravo, do you copy? The reception is getting worse and worse after the explosion. Damn, the whole city's a fucking mess. We lost contact with Dark Signal Team after the report a few hours ago. They found their way to the Armatam cargo tunnel. Based on the reports from F.E.A.R and Dark Signal teams, we assume we can still find some physical evidence about the project's origin and Perseus from the tunnel. According to the data from Hannibal Satellite, Armatam cargo tunnel should lead to Still Island. What were those fucking bastards doing at that old wasted reactor? Proceed immediately to the Armatam cargo tunnel and collect any evidence about super soldiers in their massive production project.
Oh my god, dude, that voice read on that intro. maybe the
Man.
best worst thing ever. I couldn't tell if that guy was like hyper caffeinated or just like somebody had a cattle prod and was forcing him to be as excited as humanly possible.
Yeah, just the way he was reading it just felt so awkward.
Yeah, it was like all over the place. Like he was going between like manic and just hyper.
He's like, the reactor! You gotta watch out for the reactor and go, but nah. And then he sometimes didn't understand what he was reading and stuff. It's like, what is going on?
Yeah, it was very all over the place. It's so disorienting to see gunfire and not hear sound effects for it. It's like I'm watching a silent movie or something.
Reloading.
So do you hear my guy say that he's reloading when he does reload?
No.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, what's the point
hear
of him
it.
saying it if nobody else can hear it? He's just reassuring himself that he actually has more ammo, I guess. Ooh. That was almost real bad. Ah!
Bravo.
Oh.
The tram is the only way
You're
to sneak into
not
Seal
a
Island
monster.
from here. There's no other option but to restore power to the tram. The main power to the tram is currently shut off. It looks like there's a malfunction in the main system that supplies power. Activate the emergency power generator to activate the tram.
And I'm hearing some sound effects. That must be something important.
Changing mag.
So my guy just leapt over a rail. That was kind of cool. That was like not a terrible animation.
God, this is so annoying. With no sound. I hate it.
It's a real buzzkill, right? Because like you could almost see how this could be sort of okay if the sound wasn't completely silent.
Oh, man. I don't know who they had working on this game, but it's like the D team.
Yeah. When it's like some of the lighting looks kind of okay, you know, like some of these textures don't look half bad. Like there's like little bits and pieces of this that like seem like they could be okay with some more work put into them. But then like it's just like these glaring omissions that just seem like things you would not let happen in a shipping product.
Yeah. Free to play or otherwise. It's just.
I mean, you just have to have
God.
some standards of quality, right? Like you have to have some pride in what you're doing to the point where you say like we're not going to release something that, you know, has issues that are this significant in it.
Are we supposed to be hearing things?
I have no idea. I'm
I saw
honestly
the.
just trying to stay alive at this point.
Air VT this way.
Coming.
Changing mag.
Checkpoint.
Checkpoint. Like I'm in a racing game.
God.
Didn't that remind you of like you're playing like Burnout or something?
Yeah. Checkpoint. It was like an arcade game from like Dave and Buster's or something.
Mm-hmm.
Some kind of boat racing game. Checkpoint.
There seems to have been an explosion near the tunnel entrance just now. We expect a chain
What do you
of
mean there
explosions
seems to have
follow,
been an
so
explosion? How do you
evacuate
not
the
know what
area
an
immediately.
explosion is
Pharmacham's
like?
board of directors must be trying
Yeah,
to get
oh,
rid
it
of all the
seems.
evidence in the tunnel. Hurry up
Everything
and
seems to
evacuate
be
the
on
area.
fire. So I'm guessing that was an explosion.
Everything seems to be on fire and nobody seems to be happy, so... BT!
Yeah,
Quickly!
I'm coming.
The interference must be getting worse. Everyone
I was
be
just
careful.
hugging a
The
monster.
situation
Everything's
is
cool.
similar to just before we lost contact with the dark signal team.
I was having some quality time with the AI.
Cover me. I'm reloading.
And again, no sound. Like, this might actually be decent if it had sound.
I know, right? See, it's like sound, I think, is so often overlooked in games and trivialized, but I really do think it's one of the most important things in like any good game design. Like you really miss it not being here.
You went the wrong way?
Oh God, that was a mistake.
Quick!
I'm coming.
Checkpoint.
Checkpoint.
Yay! Where do we go?
I just ran into the darkness. I'm attacking the darkness.
Attack the darkness. Thank goodness for those convenient doors
Yes.
that just magically close out of
Episode
nowhere.
2. Well, you know, one more episode, we'll be beating Half-Life. Sorry, I couldn't resist.
No, they set you up pretty good for that one.
I'm about to have an episode where I start yelling at the screen.
God, this is just so annoying.
I like how your guy jumps like he has a pogo stick for legs. Not that I'm
I know,
really
isn't it
complaining
awesome?
about that, because there's way too many games where like you can't jump nearly high enough, but ow, quit it. Ow, quit it. Okay, well that could have gone better for me. That was bad. I think I got separated from you guys and kind of lost track of where you went. But
Our buddy's coming over, got you.
okay, cool.
Magic health pack, that's always nice.
Ugh. Oh my goodness. No. What is happening? Nothing good. Nothing good. Alright, I'm gonna follow your perspective here. Hopefully you can get this done.
Did
I
you guys
believe in you.
die?
Yeah, we both went down in the lift thing. I guess there was a ladder there or something that we were supposed to go up.
Yeah,
I kind of
me-
missed where you guys went, so I wasn't. Even after he revived me, I wasn't really sure where to go.
Hopefully it gives you the revive after we get here.
Checkpoint.
Yeah, hopefully the checkpoint means we come back.
Magic fire! Where did you come from again?
Fire!
Magic doors. Probably gonna have to run again.
Yep.
Yep. Did he
Running.
just jump to his death?
I think somebody just jumped to their death, yes. I think that's the thing that just happened.
He did.
Reloading.
He did.
Cover me. I'm reloading.
We should leave this awful place.
Changing mag.
I agree. Follow Chloe. She knows where she's going. No, this way, VT. Where are you going? The tunnel.
I can't find the tunnel.
Oh, you are gonna
I'm-
get cooked.
I'm incinerated. Run for your lives! Run for your lives! Yeah, I think I saw where I was supposed to go, but for some reason I guess I needed to crouch to get through there or something.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Oh, thank God. Thank God. It's like waiting for a whole team. It's like, wait a minute, but he's dead. He's dead.
I think it was just waiting for me to bleed out. This seems bad in terms of
Episode
our
3.
fate. See, Valve, it's not impossible. Just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Our consecutive
You know what they say, a Half-Life joke a day keeps Gabe Newell away. Episode 3. That's how it goes. A Half-Life joke a day keeps episode 3 away.
changing mag.
Or it could be a Gabe Newell joke a day keeps episode 3 away.
Let's not worry about it. I think we have other things that we can focus our attention on.
It's one of those. I was close.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying you weren't close. I'm just saying, it's all good. We don't need to worry about anything but these crazy ass ladders.
Well, he gave me a laser gun, so...
Well, I
Oh,
would think that that's something you'd want to use.
Changing
and
mag.
then I died.
Well, let me see what I can do about that. Oh, look, our friend did something.
I need health bad.
I'll let you know if I see any. Yeah, this isn't terrible level design. This seems alright.
Yeah.
These scenarios do remind me a lot more of the ones from F.E.A.R 3. Like, it seems like the graphical quality and just general presentation of them seems a bit closer to what I remember from that game. Oh my goodness. Yay!
Alright, come on. I opened up the gate thing.
Let's do this! I don't know what any of this means.
Yeah, it's like, is there a reason why we need to get out of here? Why were we here in the first place? I don't know.
I mean, there was that whole introductory cutscene deal. Like, okay, I gathered that we're going to a place where some other team went that they weren't supposed to go. Are we trying to rescue them? Like, what's the, I don't know, context seems to be somewhat lacking here.
Cover me. I'm reloading.
Yeah, now there's like engineers, and it's like, why are the engineers attacking us? What?
What is this, Prometheus?
Yeah.
What? Okay, everybody's going down. Okay, I'll go down. I'm down. I'm down.
Wait, where? Why? Why did you even go down there in the first place, Chloe?
Well, there's a
Wait,
crawl.
I guess a better
There's a crawl
question.
space down there.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess a better question would be, why did we follow her?
Well, because you said Chloe knows where she's going. We should
Seems
follow
like
her.
she does.
So I was operating under that assumption.
I also said it's probably not a good idea to listen to me, though.
Well, yeah, there was that. I'm being very selective in what I'm listening to at this point.
I mean, God knows you can, because it's not like you're listening to the game or anything.
Checkpoint.
Checkpoint!
Yay!
Fire bad!
Alright, was that the last one?
Of course not.
Of course not.
Oh, it's another one of the runaway things.
Bravo, dude. Look for First Lieutenant Stokes.
Okay.
And then explain the situation.
Okay, good. I'm glad somebody can explain the situation. Now I feel better, and I can probably sleep tonight.
Well, that's good for you, but I didn't hear him.
Oh, really? There was a little voiceover bit
I-
there.
Well, alright, I ignored him because I was too busy shooting at engineers.
Changing mag.
So apparently we're looking for Lieutenant Scopes because she's the only one who can explain the situation. But I know the situation because my parents went away on a week's vacation and they left the keys to the brand new Porsche. Wait, no, I think that's a different situation.
You're crossing the streams, man.
Checkpoint.
Checkpoint! We got those running parts down, man. We're like a finely tuned, well-oiled running machine of madness.
Oh, goodness.
Why do I always seem to manage to not go with you? It's this bad habit of deciding to go with everybody but you.
Because I'm an idiot.
Maybe it's
You're an
because
idiot.
secretly I'm scared of your gun.
You cannot handle my skills. Warning, emergency. Because I have to say it. 'cause,
Currently, the elevator is locked and offline. Please stand by as we hack the security system to put it back online.
Because that's how things work.
yeah. And we have a levitating enemy.
Cool.
Cover me. I'm reloading.
Stop levitating! Levitator! I need to go into this corner here before I die. So a little kind of horde mode action.
Ow, what hit me?
I think there's somebody up to there to the left somewhere, but I can't quite. Yeah, like maybe on like that balcony or something. I can't quite spot them though. But like if you hug this wall, they can't hit you, so they must be to the left. I'm trying to like follow the tracers back, but I don't see how they can shoot us and we can't shoot them.
Changing mag.
Did you get them?
Yeah, I was. I was finally able to.
Nice.
How much securing do we have to do here?
Yeah, is this even where we're supposed to be standing? Like I'm not seeing a checkpoint indicator or anything that we need to be anywhere else. I mean, I'm assuming this is the elevator we're waiting to get on right here. Ow. Quit it. So what do you think that voice is saying repeatedly in the background? It sounds a little bit like happy. I'm like, did they get Pharrell? Happy.
Yeah, I was gonna say actually, because I had to take a second to listen to it.
I mean, maybe I've just heard that song a few too many times, and like it's my brain's like twisted interpretation of this situation. But
Well, it wouldn't really surprise me. I mean,
so I
what
got
else is
bad
he doing?
news. I'm out of bullets, and I'm dead.
What is hitting me?
It's a very good question.
I just don't understand what I'm getting hit by. It's like,
Okay,
sheesh.
well, fortunately, I still have a pistol, which is good.
I was getting hit from the right somewhere.
Oh, I see the tracers, yeah. Something's over there. I got one of them.
Changing mag.
Oh, there's ones on the left too. Now watch the crossfire.
Ugh.
Ah, man, I'm down. Not good, not good.
Chloe's still alive.
Ah, I was trying to move up to get the res, but there's just too many critters.
Ugh.
I think this might be the end.
Yeah, everybody's dead.
This is the end. Beautiful friend. The end.
Mission failed.
Oh, mission failed. I still leveled up, for what that's worth. I got a rank B, for what that's worth.
So wait, that's it?
Yeah. So, I guess I guess you I guess we technically made it to the end. Maybe like if you survive the whole thing, that's the end. I don't understand what anything means.
Yeah, I don't understand what that was.
I got a bunch of stuff, which I guess is good if I were ever going to play this game again.
Yeah, but there's not a really good chance of that happening.
No, so let's sum up here. Let's kind of recap a little bit. So, struggling as I am to find positive things, I will point out the fact that there does seem to be a crafting system of some sort where you get material components and are then able to make guns out of said material components. That seems kind of cool. Like that could be a reason to play the game some and get stuff and make things. But I find myself wondering of all of the things that I've seen that this game has to offer, is there anything here that would actually compel me to keep playing it beyond this initial kind of first look at it? And I'd have to say for me, the answer is probably no.
Yeah. No. From me too.
Yeah, you know, which is fair. I mean, not every game is meant to be for everyone and whatever. And I think we've been pretty clear about the fact that, you know, even though this game isn't really doing it for us, it's, you know, maybe this maybe if you really like Fear and you like the aesthetic and the kind of setting and all that, that this will be appealing to you. I'd say that's, like you said before, that's probably the best chance of, I think, of somebody really enjoying this game. Um, but other than that, if you're just looking for a good, you know, cooperative or competitive first-person shooter, I definitely feel like there are lots of better choices out there. Um, you know, just again, I know we've said them before throughout this, but things like Soldier Front 2, Heroes and Generals, PlanetSide 2, um, any other free-to-plays that I'm forgetting.
uh,
I know there's got to be at least a couple that I'm just not remembering off the top of my head.
yeah, I'm struggling as well to remember any that came to my mind.
Yeah. You know, like those three alone, I would say are worth checking out. You know, if you're looking for something along these lines, you know, that maybe has a bit more meat and a bit more polish and a bit more just oomph behind it. Um, I would recommend any of those three games over this one for sure, based on what I've seen of it so far. And again, because I don't really feel like there's much here that we haven't seen, even in this short time that we've spent with the game, I kind of feel like you know, this probably won't be one that I'll be returning to.
Yeah, yeah. I think if you're a fan of the Fear games, it'd probably be good to at least pick up and take a look and see what you think of it.
Yeah, I mean, as long
Um,
as you don't have to pay for your bandwidth, you know, as long as you don't have to pay for the download, there's really no harm in giving it a try. You know, I certainly wouldn't say don't give it a try, but there's definitely a lot of between the sound issues and just the general jankiness of it and the like inconsistent texture work. Yeah, there's just too many like little things that combine together. The lack of modes, you know, the fact that there's only three different PvP modes and only three different PvE maps currently in the game. You know, there's not quite enough there to really, and what is there isn't really solid enough, I don't think, to really justify spending a lot of time with it. You know, it's like you can have a game that doesn't have a ton of content to it, but if the content is really good, then that, you know, the quality factor can kind of make up for the lack of content. But this game doesn't really seem to have either. Like it doesn't have a ton of content, and the content that is there isn't terribly polished or like amazing. So it's kind of like losing on both sides of that equation.
yeah, middle of the pack shooter for really, again, it was for a middle of the pack sort of, if you love the games, if you don't like the games, nah, this probably won't be for you.
Yeah. But good times. I mean, I had fun. I think the knife fight thing was probably the most fun that I had. I still will maintain that's probably my favorite mode in the game, just for its sheer like lunacy and silliness. You know, if you do bother to check this game out, at least give that mode a play because it's kind of silly and in a fun sort of way. But other than that, I guess we can kind of wrap this up. Um, we will definitely be back on Wednesday for Talismania. We're going to be checking out the new dungeon expansion for Talisman Digital Edition. So if you're into board games or fantasy role-playing type stuff, definitely consider following and coming back for that. That'll be around noon on Wednesday Eastern Standard Time for anybody who wants to watch that live. Like I said, a follow, and you'll get the notification when we go live. But other than that, I guess we'll see you all next time.
Peace.